It started as a Saturday night get-together among good kids in a safe neighborhood. But you're about to see that good and safe are words that don't always count. But as many Los Angeles teenagers and their parents learned last year, the good times can suddenly turn very bad. And a community accustomed to comfort and protection for its children can be forced to confront some harsh realities about its sense of values, morality, and responsibility.
Allie, it's Colin.
15-year-olds Colin and Danny came face-to-face with those issues last November 17th, a night that rocked the protected world most of these teenagers live in. It began like this. Like any other Saturday night, Colin's mother dropped off the boys in Westwood, one of LA's fancier parts of town.
He was supposed to go to the movie. I knew that at 11 he was supposed to call me to be picked up.
Yeah.
Colin was supposed to call her on his cell phone, the electronic link of teenagers everywhere.
Well, I know this party in Studio City.
The means of communicating who's doing what and where. And that night, the source of some information that would change their lives.
So I'll hit you back up about it, all right?
From the moment the boys arrived in Westwood to see a movie, their plans began to fall apart. It started when Colin's other friend, Ryan, forgot his wallet.
It turns out that we didn't have enough money. A thought came to my mind because my friend usually comes to Westwood, so I call her. Where are you right now?
That 15-year-old friend agreed to meet the boys with another girlfriend outside this smoke shop.
We're gonna be there in like...
Now that the movies were out, they revised their Saturday night plans.
Yeah, we're gonna go. My friend Ryan knew about a party.
6 miles across town in Santa Monica, another 15-year-old was preparing for her Saturday night as well.
I set two rules. She has to be helping at home is everything that's needed, that she did, and she has to be an outstanding student, which she was.
Ilya Moran came to California from the Czech Republic 34 years ago and is a software engineer. His wife, Harriet, is a homemaker of Philippine descent.
Don't move, don't move.
They consider themselves modern, middle-class parents with old-fashioned, old-world values. All 5 children have been raised to work hard around the house, attend public school, and earn their own spending money. As their home videos show, this is a family that has fun together, even though the children have always had to adhere to their parents' strict rules, including those on dating and going out at night. Diana, the youngest of 4 girls, had earned her parents' trust. She was a star athlete, an honor student, and a member of the school choir.
How'd you know?
Who's driving?
On November 17th, that fateful Saturday night, Diana danced around the kitchen as she finished her long list of household chores. Now she wanted to party with her friends. Her mother wanted her to stay home because Diana had plans to run with a coworker early the next morning before a shift at her restaurant job. But using her considerable charm, she managed to overcome her mother's resistance, promising to stick to her midnight curfew. Did you know where she was going?
She said Westwood,
but
it wasn't. It wasn't clear that
She was going to her friend's house.
But Diana and her pals played the teenage game of musical houses. They left their friend's home, hopped a bus, and headed to a party other kids had told them about, a move a lot of people rue today, including the mother of one of the boys accompanying Diana.
I asked where they were going, and he said they were taking a bus to Westwood, and I kind of thought in my 1950s mind, wow, how great, public school kids taking a bus to Westwood, you know, and I said to him, be sure, I don't know where I got it from, make sure you protect Diana.
An eerie premonition. The bus dropped the 4 boys and Diana in Westwood. They walked the rest of the way to the party, a party all these friends of Diana's from Santa Monica High School also attended. A party, it turned out, at which they did not know the host, a 15-year-old boy who went to private school. So it's not unusual to go to someone's house and party at their house and not know them?
No, not at all.
No. The word gets spread like really fast.
Yeah.
Fast like wildfire.
He doesn't want this like big. This is not supposed to be like hundreds of people there.
As with so many of these impromptu parties, the numbers of kids who heard about it was huge. The other magic words had gotten out.
Exactly.
There would be
So,
no
like,
parents at home.
It's a kickback, and there's no one home.
Is it unusual to go to someone's house where you don't know the person and there are no parents home?
No, it's always like that.
As long as you have your friends there, then it's like, you know, it's accepted.
By the time Deanna and her friends walked up to this house on November 17th and Colin and his friends arrived by cab, there were all the elements these teenagers consider essential to a great party. No parents, a housekeeper in her room, and lots of friends. There was also alcohol, although it's unclear where it came from. You get there, tell me what it was like.
Just lots of kids everywhere, and people were drinking.
Smoking dope,
Yeah, a few people were.
a lot of drugs,
Just marijuana.
and people are 15, 14, 15.
Yeah, 15, like, up to, like, just anywhere in high school,
And that's pretty routine.
basically.
Everything was fine, says Colin, until the 15-year-old girl he'd brought along to the party started chasing him through the backyard, jumping over flower pots and breaking one, catching the disapproving eye of Deanna Moran.
We were just, like, joking around, then she started chasing after me, and maybe, like, while she was chasing after me, she dropped a pot, and Deanna took that offensively, saying, like, this is a nice house, and they just got in an argument.
Deanna, who doesn't know either one of you, stands up and says, chill out,
Yeah, exactly.
don't do this. Her friends say the move was vintage Deanna, a girl they describe as a fierce defender of her friends and her principles.
Earlier at the party, I saw her like cleaning up beer bottles and stuff, like cleaning it up and putting it in the trash. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, well, it's messy, you know, I don't want them to have to clean it up.
But Colin's 15-year-old friend didn't like being reprimanded. She came from wealth, an expensive house, private schools. She'd just been asked to leave one of them for immature behavior. No one can recall exactly how it got started, but before long, Deanna and the 15-year-old girl were fighting.
They started shoving each other, and, like, pulling hair, just grabbing each other, swinging each other around.
What were you thinking? What were you doing?
Well, right when they started seriously getting into it, they fell down the deck, and I grabbed his hands and tried taking her off, and so did my friend Ryan. Everyone tried breaking them up.
And did you successfully break them up?
Yeah, they broke up.
Ryan and Danny, who'd also arrived with the girl, now recognize that first incident merely set the stage for another, far more serious fight to come. They say it began when the girl, humiliated by her confrontation with Deanna, retreated to the garden and called her 17-year-old sister, Katrina.
She's weak and can't fight her own battles, so she has to get someone else involved because she can't take a defeat, and it just keeps on coming back.
Because her pride was hurt, and it's just, the fight was about pride, so she wanted to do something about it, so she called her sister.
Yeah.
Deanna didn't seem particularly concerned, but some of her friends were. They'd heard that Katrina, the 15-year-old's half-sister, was a girl with some troubles of her own.
I was aware that Katrina, her older sister, was kind of like, she was a little on the edge. Like, I knew she had some like mean side to her and stuff. So
I mean, that was her reputation?
Her reputation. Yeah. So I walked over to Deanna and told her about it, and the only thing she told me was, I can handle it, Ryan.
You went over to Deanna and said, what, this girl's got a kind of an edgy sister?
Yeah, her sister's kind of, you gotta watch out for her, and she was like, Ryan, I can handle myself.
Yeah. Usually when that happens, like, you know, when somebody says like, oh, I'm gonna get my older brother, my dad, my uncle,
and then
to beat you up, like, it never
happened.
Usually
But this time was different. Deanna was outside the house waiting for her ride home when just around 11 o'clock, a white SUV pulled up.
Katrina just busts out of the car, yelling and screaming, who hit my sister? Who hit my sister? Who knocked her down? Who knocked her down? Point her out to me. Show me who it was. And then Deanna just boldly was like, it was me, right here, not afraid.
She was like, will you please just listen to me, listen to my side of the story.
She's trying to explain her story.
Because I don't think Deanna wanted to get in a like physical confrontation with that girl. So she was just trying to tell her to, you know, calm down and listen to me.
But her words were ineffective. Within moments, Deanna and the older sister were in a fight. About 40 teenagers were outside the house watching, including Danny and Colin. As we were talking, they spontaneously described what happened.
I'm Katrina, and we start having, like, I'm talking to her, like, what'd you do to my sister?
And then just all
just
of a
talking
sudden,
about, then all of a sudden she just goes, like, boom, and hits her right there, and like that. And then grabs her shirt, grabs her shirt.
Swings her around.
Then grabs her shirt, goes like this, and swings her around.
At which point, several teenagers said a friend of Katrina's grabbed Deanna.
Jumped her, like put her in a headlock, and then like pushed her to the ground.
Her on the ground.
Where, according to most of the dozen teenagers we spoke with, Katrina's 15-year-old sister went over to Deanna on the ground, kicked her in the ribs, and then hopped into the SUV with Katrina and drove off. Deanna seemed to be in shock.
I saw her coming over to me and I was like, what happened, you know? And then I asked her what happened. She didn't say anything, and then she kind of got really limp. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? So we helped pick her up and carry her into her car.
Instead of calling 911 immediately, they piled Deanna into a car and drove her not to the closest hospital at UCLA, 5 minutes away, but to their own neighborhood, 25 minutes away, in Santa Monica. To this day, her friends say they had no idea how injured Deanna was. Did she speak in the car to you?
She was trying to speak, but I don't think she could. But I realized that I had like blood all over my clothes and my hands and my arms and stuff. I remember her eyes were rolling in the back of her head and she looked really like out of it. We finally got to the hospital. We tried to take her out. The people rushed out and put her on the stretcher.
And when they got there, doctors had terrible news for Deanna's friends. News that shook their community. News that brought the police.
We were expecting her to come before midnight, as normal.
For Ilya and Harriet Moran, the night would turn out to be anything but normal. Their daughter, Deanna, who'd gone to a party earlier in the evening, was now in the emergency room at Santa Monica Hospital. Shortly before midnight, the Morans got a call from the police.
To say that I have to come and they cannot tell me what condition she's in.
So you got in the car and you drove over to the hospital?
Yeah, then doctor, they have ways to tell you these things.
They had a bad feeling even before the doctor spoke.
The way he breaks it to you is pretty sophisticated, I think, because he would start such a way that you get a feeling she's still alive. Certainly he says the magic word. We tried everything we could. So then we ran to see her.
They ran to find their daughter. She'd been stabbed in the heart and died of internal bleeding.
I felt how she's still warm. It's just, I couldn't do anything else. I was just holding her head.
I've never seen him cry, and as soon as I walked in there, it was just, because I never seen him cry, so it just made me.
Did anybody explain anything to you? Did the kids come in and talk to you about what had happened?
I didn't care how it happened, who did it, why. It didn't matter. If doctor made some mistake, whatever, it didn't matter anymore. You certainly are there, totally helpless. You can't undo this.
The Morans were in shock, barely able to tell Deanna's 4 siblings that their sister was dead. For all of Deanna's family, it got worse as they heard how she died. It was hard to listen to the story the teenagers told, that almost 40 ordinarily nice kids had stood around and watched the fight, something it turned out they'd done before.
It can sometimes be like almost a form of entertainment in the party, but really fights, when you talk about fights, they don't happen as often as going to a party and drinking. I mean, we're talking like, that'll happen every weekend, but fights will happen once every 2 months.
What I've been told by several people is that the 2 girls started fighting and there was a ring of people around going, fight, fight, fight.
Yeah, but there's also,
That's true.
like, you don't think in terms, like, when a fight happens, you don't think at any point, like, someone's going to be killed in that fight.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, so, like, when this happened, with Deanna, when this happened, like, that was, none of us, like, had that thought in our mind, like, at all, you know?
Everyone feels bad that they didn't step in. Everyone feels bad that they didn't call an ambulance. Everyone feels bad that they didn't do these things. But the truth is that no one in that situation would do anything because it happened so quick.
It was a verbal argument for almost 5 minutes, and then it just, all of a sudden, they just rushed each other real quick, and it was more maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, and then Katrina just walked away, and it's like no one even knew what happened.
When people try and tell me that we should have done something, it makes me feel really bad because it makes it seem as though we didn't care enough to jump in and help our friend. And I think that everyone needs to know that we care about her more than like anything. We would never.
And while all the teenagers we spoke with claimed they never saw a weapon, According to the coroner's report, Katrina killed Deanna by stabbing her in the heart. Reports say it was most likely with a punch knife, a street weapon similar to this one that can be hidden in the fist with a blade that can protrude through the fingers. To this day, the police have not recovered a weapon, but Colin and Ryan say they both spoke with Katrina's 15-year-old sister by cell phone that night, moments after she'd kicked Deanna and fled.
I asked her what happened. I was like, yo, was there a knife on your boot when you kicked her? I mean, I was just totally clueless to what had happened. And she told me that Katrina stabbed her. And I was like, whoa. Well, then I just gave the phone to Colin.
She said, yeah, she stabbed her. And I said, with what? And it was a knife, and that's all and she says, I have to go. And I'm like, all right, I'll call you later.
The more they learned, the more difficult it was for Deanna's parents to grasp how the daughter they loved so dearly could have been killed in a neighborhood so unused to violence. Now it was up to the police to determine what had happened at the party and who was responsible.